It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Wednesday, the 1st of October. I'm Michael Groff. The main forecast concern in the short term will be above average temperatures, daytime highs flirting with, if not exceeding 100 degrees tomorrow and Friday. But then cooler air comes in this weekend, and I think that's going to be bye-bye to our triple-digit days for the rest of the year. That's good news. Daytime highs will drop into the upper 80s and low 90s, but it's those overnight lows. Yes, it's going to feel very refreshing this weekend. Lows in the 60s valley-wide. Maybe some of the outlying desert areas dip into the upper 50s. Now, the forecast for next week turns quite a bit more interesting and, of course, is also littered with uncertainty. And that revolves around, at least in part, the potential tropical cyclone development in the East Pacific that could result in a substantial increase in moisture here over the Southwest, making for some unsettled weather by late next week. Certainly, some of our guidance suggests that will happen. Of course, we'll try to get you all the particulars on that. Plus, so much more to talk about as we dive on in and discuss. First, the Almanac from yesterday. 97 degrees, the afternoon high for your last day of September. 75 the morning low. 96 and 73 are the averages for this time of year. Outside now, just before 11 o'clock, sunny sky out there, 84 degrees at Sky Harbor, dew points at 54, relative humidity 35%, the winds are light, and the barometer is steady. And it's a new month. We also have a new look here on the videos. Check this out. And it's just kind of an experiment. You'll have to let us know what you think of it in the comments, but here we go. Satellite picture out here across the west, severe clear for us right now. We put this in motion for you. The main storm track remains well to the north of Arizona and will continue to be so, at least for the rest of the week. The watch warning map is pretty quiet across most of the country. Some hurricane warnings still in effect for the coastal waters well off the east coast of the United States in association with Imelda, but that's racing east toward Bermuda. Otherwise, not a lot of high impact events ongoing in the contiguous U.S. at this time. Convective outlook for today, no organized areas of severe weather around the nation. The tropics in the Atlantic Basin. Well, Humberto is off the board. It is now a post-tropical system. Oh yes, it's still a big mass, a huge system, but it's become more of a mid-latitude cyclonic type system. On its heels is Imelda, and that is going to eventually have the same fate, becoming a post-tropical system. But before it does that, Imelda is going to track over Bermuda, bringing winds of perhaps as high as 100 miles per hour and, of course, some very heavy rain that'll batter the island. So hurricane warnings are in effect for Bermuda. But after that, the system will race out into the North Atlantic, becoming post-tropical. Now, in the East Pacific, we've got Octave, and this is just going to kind of spin around out there. This should just fizzle out over the next several days, not expected to become anything major. Now, elsewhere in the East Pacific, we're watching that wave that's off the Mexican coast with great interest because that does have the potential to develop into a tropical cyclone, and where it goes could have some implications on our weather. And most of our model guidance, and certainly this analysis from the National Hurricane Center, suggests it will sort of parallel the Mexican coast moving northwestward and maybe get caught up into the very active westerlies that we have out here, especially by next week across the western U.S., western North America, and that could pull that system, or at least part of that system, up here. We'll see. All right, here's the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Wednesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing. Statewide, not much. There might be some very light precip in the eastern and southeastern portions of Arizona, but just beyond this period, that's where things may start to turn quite a bit more exciting. And we're going to talk about that right now as we get to the models, have a look at things, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It is the 12Z run. This is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. Big ridge across the eastern part of the country, nosing well up into Canada, far above average temperatures continue. Let me just show you this real quick to illustrate that. These are forecast highs from the GFS this afternoon. We're talking mid-80s, maybe even some upper 80s, all the way up to the Canadian border. Keep in mind, this time of the year, some of these places should have highs in the low to mid 60s, maybe upper 60s for places like Minneapolis. but yeah, well above average. And that's going to continue for the next few days, although eventually cooler air is going to start to come on into the area. Now, for us, down at the surface for the rest of the day today, what you see is what you get. Sunny sky, high temperatures up in the mid-90s. And that is pretty much where we ought to be for this first day of October. The average high in Phoenix, 95 degrees. Will be 95, 96, 97, somewhere in there. For tonight, the sky is clear. The air is dry. Overnight lows will be in the 60s for the cool spots. Low, possibly even middle 70s in the urban core. And then for tomorrow, sunny, a little bit warmer. Highs, upper 90s, maybe flirting with 100 degrees. So, as I mentioned, we're not quite done with the triple-digit days just yet. Let's go to Friday. Again, highs, upper 90s to about 101 degrees. But notice off to the north and west of us, there's a trough coming into the Great Basin with some rain there. And while we're not going to see any precipitation from that feature, what it will do as it passes by on Saturday is bring some breezy conditions, especially to northern Arizona. Cooler temperatures for sure. High temperatures for us will drop into the upper 80s and low 90s. Should be a much nicer day on Saturday, but what's really going to be nice is once that sun goes down Saturday night, Sunday morning, you're going to wake up to lows in the 60s valley-wide, and maybe some of the remote desert areas even dropping into the upper 50s. 'Tis the season, isn't it? Meanwhile, on Sunday, highs again, upper 80s and low 90s. Now, we'll warm it up just a little bit on Monday. Highs back to the low and possibly middle 90s. As shortwave ridging will try to build back in, the heights will come up a little bit, but the westerlies remain pretty active, and we're going to see another system ultimately developing off the west coast, either a cutoff low or a broad trough. So on Tuesday, again, high temperatures somewhere in the low to mid 90s, but you can see some evidence of moisture being pulled up into eastern Arizona and the Four Corners region at that time, maybe some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday. The GFS being a little bit more aggressive at already advecting some moisture in here. And let's keep going. This is a week from today, Wednesday, the 8th of October, and lo and behold, the GFS has a tropical cyclone off of the Baja, and it's moving parallel to the Mexican coast. And we also have a little closed upper low that's there, and that's going to help to pull some of that moisture northward as well. So we're going to keep an eye on this situation as models have started to show this. Now, again, this is a week out, and I'm going to tell you this is going to change. This outlook is going to change many times between now and then, right? But we have seen our deterministic guidance and some of our ensemble members advertising a tropical cyclone moving northward and at least some moisture being pulled up into the southwest for the middle and especially latter part of next week. So you can see that here, and the East Pacific very active. I mean, on the synoptic look, there's plenty of precipitation and active tropical waves down there off of southern Mexico, and this, of course, tropical cyclone moving up the west coast of Mexico. This is Thursday the 9th. That system continues to move north, and that upper low off the California coast starts to intensify. We also see another short wave over western Canada. That system, that tropical cyclone, is being pulled up the west coast of Mexico toward the Baja Spur, north of the Baja Spur, and toward the southwestern United States. Very interesting. If that's right, yeah, we would start to see some increasing chances of rain around here. Showers, thunderstorms on the increase. And obviously, we're going to have to watch where that goes as we give you the view here. And then let's keep going. Out 10 days. This is Friday, the 10th of October. Very interesting. We have a short wave that's dropping from the north across western Canada and the Pacific Northwest. We've got this upper low and the associated remnants of whatever that tropical cyclone would be all kind of consolidating over here in the southwest. A very dynamic setup for producing very heavy rain. Now, this is, again, 10 days out. We are way out here into fantasy land. So we're not going to buy into any one scenario. We're just looking at model trends. And the trend from the GFS has been to suggest a very unsettled pattern here, very active weather for late next week. And we have seen some of the other guidance start to buy into this solution as well. Is it going to play out like this? Probably not. But we're going to keep an eye on how it goes nonetheless, because that would bring heavy rain across the area, a sub 1,000 millibar low across central Arizona. So yes, widespread rain, thunder, maybe even some more local flooding would be the result of that kind of a setup. But of course, we all know how these things can go, and by tomorrow, this could be completely off the board. But the CPC is buying into this as well, as we'll show you in just a minute. I just thought I'd show you, this is off the European. This is next Thursday, the 9th, and it's got a tropical cyclone down there off of the coast of Baja as well. It tracks it more northward across central and eastern Arizona as opposed to the western part of the state in Southern California. So again, there is good agreement on the models that a tropical cyclone develops and that it moves toward at least southern Baja, and where it goes from there, who knows? All right, looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble. And again, there's 31 members, a big model spread. You got a couple of members that are up there at 2 and 3 inches. But, you know, the ensemble mean, well, no. It's down there at about a half an inch. But look at the control member on this. The control member is up over 3 inches of rain here. I mean, that's crazy. And then the European ensemble, 51 members. And again, got a couple of members that are 2 and 3 inches. But the majority, you've got some that show nothing. So a big model spread here. And again, there's a lot of uncertainty. European AI ensemble, same situation. Got a big spread, anything from nothing all the way up to 3.5 inches of rain. So you follow the ensemble mean on all of these, and it almost, well, the mean on all of these indicates that we'll see some precipitation, but within that, there's just way too much uncertainty to say for sure. All right, looking at temperatures off the national blend of models. Yeah, I think we're going to have at least one more, maybe two more 100-degree days before it's all said and done. But then temps drop off this weekend, and next week, maybe a small recovery in temperatures, but I don't expect any more 100-degree days after that. And certainly late next week and into that following weekend, with the threat of unsettled weather coming into the southwest, temperatures should drop substantially. And if we do actually get a really big push of tropical moisture in here, well, I'm going to tell you right now, we probably won't see 90s for a while. I don't think we'll be done with the 90s, but they'll be out of here for a bit. All right, checking out the CPC outlook for the 8 to 14 day period. This is from October 8th through the 14th, and temperatures across most of the contiguous United States are skewed probability-wise toward above average, and that includes here in Arizona for the most part. But precipitation is also becoming more and more skewed probability-wise toward above average here. And again, the guys over at CPC seem to think that at least some tropical moisture will be coming in here over the next week, 10, 12, 14 days. So we will keep an eye on what's happening to the south. And that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here with these videos, well, be sure to click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube. Make a monetary contribution to us. That would really help us out. Of course, via PayPal as well. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. It's GROFFshow@gmail.com for PayPal. And our Venmo is also linked up down in the description. And hey, let us know what you think of this new format. What you like, what we should change. Again, it's experimental. We'll probably have some tweaks on it between now and forever, but you know, everything is always under construction. Everything is always being tweaked, but it's kind of an interesting change for us, and we hope you really do like it. All right, the executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Kylie related, Adriana related. It's all linked up down in the description below. By the way, Michelle is hard at work right now on this machine right next to me, right over here on the Beast. The other machine here, she is in the midst of writing yet another blog. So Michelle is on a writing frenzy right now, and we love it. All right. What else is going on? Oh, of course. our streaming station. It's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. So we want you to check that out. That's linked up in the description below. And check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, or courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. And he's got a lot going on over there. Again, you talk about a machine, talk about on a frenzy. Well, he does that every day. He is, he's in the top 1% of all YouTubers in terms of content creation. I mean, if he's not going to brag about it, I will. So good for him. One of the hardest working people on YouTube. And you got to love that. So again, check him out. He supports us. You support him. The Courtroom Files on YouTube. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please be safe. Stay cool. Stay hydrated out there and have yourselves a delightful rest of your Wednesday.